G'day and welcome to another edition of It's Your Call, brought to you by Quit Now. I'm Mark McGugan, filling in for Wayne Schwass, who's at home sick this week. Get well, Schwatter. And joined, as always, by Umpire's boss, Jeff Geeshan. Welcome, Jeff.
G'day, Mark. Good to be here.
Good to see you. And we've got a special guest as well this week, AFL umpire Simon Meredith. Welcome, Simon.
Thanks, Mark. Good to be here.
Now, as always, watching along at home, you can get involved by getting on the Twitter. Handle is @AFL and the hashtag #YourCall. We'll take 2 tweets every week to have a look at, so get on and send them in. But we're going to start off this week, Friday night, Adelaide versus St Kilda. Patrick Dangerfield involved in a decision, and we might let you start off with this one, Simon. Dangerfield wins the free kick, but not allowed to play on advantage there. Can you explain why that was?
Yeah, so the out-of-zone umpire has paid his free kick. You can see the hold here just off the ball. And as it's an out-of-zone free kick, the player's not allowed to take advantage. This stops any confusion. You can see all the players looking to the middle of the ground and not to the umpire that's actually got control. So we simply say, you have to go back, take your kick, there's no confusion, and the game goes from there.
You're happy with that, Jeff? He's spot on?
Yeah, it was a great call by the umpire. This has been a little tweak that's happened just this year, and all the clubs were made aware of that pre-season. So very good pick up by the umpires.
Okay, so well done in that case. Now, let's get on to the next one. Lots of attention for this. Nick Naitanui, it's been described as the point of the year by some people. Nick Nat takes it out of the ruck, runs all the way to 50, handballs to himself, kicks a point. The question is, Jeff, did he run too far?
Yeah, well, it's been the question on a lot of people's lips, but when we determine this, we have to decide, has he run too far, based around has he been in control of the football the whole time? Now, we can see handballs at over. Scotland tries to intercept. Naitanui at this stage stretches, reaches, knocks the ball away. So at that point in time, he lost control of the ball. So it all comes down to whether the umpire thinks he's had control of the ball or hasn't had control of the ball. And in this case, once he tapped it away from Scotland, he didn't have control, went and regained it. When he regained it, that's when his 15-metre starters again. So certainly didn't run too far, certainly didn't have control all the time. Great bit of play by Nick Naitanui. So
spot on decision, and just a shame he couldn't finish off with a goal, because we might have had a goal of the year contender.
It would have been sensational.
All right, well done. Now let's move on to the next one, Simon. We'll throw this back to you. This is Sean Dempster back in the Adelaide versus St Kilda match. Dempster tackled in the back pocket here, puts the ball out of bounds and not pinged for a deliberate out of bounds. Adelaide fans not too happy about that. What was your call on that one?
Yeah, well, you can see when he's going to get tackled, he actually loses control of the ball. So he's fumbled the ball. So in that regard, you can't say that his intent is to put it straight out of bounds. So we're happy with the throw in there. Yeah.
Jeff, happy with that?
Yeah, again, great vision by the umpire. We saw him look inboard and down the line to look for a teammate. And as he did go to handball, exactly what Simon said, the ball just spilled off his hands. Didn't throw it, didn't just let the ball go. He actually did fumble it. So very good pick up by the umpire not to penalise him.
All right, now let's go to the Twitter, and one from Albie Hwang here, who wanted to know about this free kick against Jake Batchelor in Saturday's Gold Coast versus, GWS versus Richmond game. Batchelor penalised for prohibited contact here.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I've heard a lot of commentary about this situation, and as we can see on the tape, Batchelor hits him twice already, a third time, a fourth time, and while this has been going on, our umpire's been saying, cut it out, don't do it. Not the biggest thumps in the world, but is it fair for a player to be standing there watching play as another player just hammers his forearm, his elbow into his back 4 or 5 times repeatedly? We follow up with the one from Perth with Chris Judd. Play had stopped, Chris had given away a free kick here, but then he took 3 or 4 paces towards Pritis. Now this contact, only once, certainly not a high level of force, but what the umpire deemed was play was ready to recommence. Chris walked away, walked towards Pritis, elbowed him, pushed him to that chest region, and there was no need to do it. So that falls under prohibited contact as well. And people will say, not a lot of force, it's soft and what have you, but you know, we don't want to encourage players that when they're frustrated or things have gone wrong, they just walk up and throw an elbow or a forearm into their opponent. We see it emulated at junior levels. We want to be strong on prohibited contact. Certainly the Batchelor one, definite free kick there. Chris Judd, lower end of the scale, but we want to deter players from just thinking they can walk up to their opponent and throw an elbow towards their chest, arm or into their body.
So bottom line is, yes, maybe a little bit soft, but you've got to draw the line somewhere, and the easy answer is just don't do it and you're in the clear.
Well, that's correct. And when we spoke to the umpire about it, the umpire said, well, players about to recommence. Chris just took 3 or 4 paces towards Critters and did what he did. Understand Chris's frustration. He'd just given away a free kick. But if we're saying it's okay for Chris to do it, we're saying it's okay for everybody to do it. The umpire deemed it was forceful enough to warrant a free kick.
Back to the tweets now, and one from Alistair Hogg about an incident involving the Western Bulldogs' Sean Higgins on Sunday against Port Adelaide. Tackled here and not penalised for holding the ball. Jeff, was this the correct decision?
It was an incorrect decision, Mark. We can see Higgins take his 3 or 4 paces, be correctly tackled, and then just let the ball go. So the umpire should have paid a free kick. This one here is different. No prior opportunity, picks up the ball, tackled straight away. See him take the ball, tackled, makes an attempt to try and handball it, ball comes out, play on. And that falls under make a genuine attempt. He certainly didn't throw the ball. He certainly didn't just, hand it off to a teammate. It was knocked out in the tackle, and the umpire calls play on when they haven't had a prior opportunity in this situation.
So clear enough there. Now, Simon, while we've got you today, got a couple of questions for you. A lot of talk from week to week that sometimes Jeff and the umpires team are trying to tell you that there's a rule of the week and that you've got to change your interpretations on certain rules each week. Can you tell us whether or not that's the case?
There's no way that happens. What happens is, umpires make mistakes from time to time, and every week we get coached on that by our coaches. Jeff, Rowan, Hayden and Brian. They come in, they coach us on what we need to do to improve. We always go back to the DVD that was given out to every player and every club at the start of the year, and that's how we base all our umpiring for the entire year. So yeah, we get reinforced on the things we've done wrong and what we need to do right, but there's no rule of the week as such.
And the other one I wanted to ask you about, so much talk at the moment about the number of players around the ball at all times. How hard is the game getting to umpire at the moment?
Oh, there's no doubt it's as tough as it's ever been in terms of my career. Sometimes you get 36 players within the 50-metre arc. So, that makes your job really difficult in that you have to keep moving around the pack. You have to make sure that you always keep the ball under observation, and then to make sure you also see the players' heads and shoulders so they're not getting taken high. And you rely a lot on your mates, your out-of-zone umpires, to make sure that they're in the right position, and if you miss something, that they get it. Just because of the numbers around the ball, sometimes it just makes it impossible to see where the ball is.
All right, thanks very much. Now, big decision this week. The most talked about one, no doubt about it, was the free kick against Aaron Joseph at the Subiaco on Thursday night. Joseph pinged for holding the ball. Free kick to Jack Darling, who kicked a goal. Jeff, we might give this one to you. Was this a correct decision?
Yeah, no, we've deemed this to be an incorrect decision based around the fact that, yes, Joseph did dive on the ball. You see him slide in, but he does actually handball the ball. When he handballed the ball away, it was trapped by Darling, Jemison, a number of other players, and from that point, the ball was going nowhere. So we probably would have preferred the umpire just blow his whistle and ball the ball up in this situation. See him dive, he tried to knock it out, got trapped by Darling, as you can see in the vision, and probably a ball up is the best result. So Joseph certainly harshly treated on that occasion.
So we're going to have a closer look at the rule here. Can you talk us through this and exactly what it means in the context of that decision?
Yeah, it's interesting because we hear so many people say, oh, the person who's dived on the ball has gone and won the football, he's shown all this courage. It's very clear in the rule book, and people can see what the rule book says right there in front of you. If you dive on the ball, if you take possession, if you drag the ball back under, it is then your responsibility to knock that ball clear and correctly dispose of it immediately when you tackle correctly. Now, players continue to dive on the ball. They put themselves at risk every time they dive at the ball. If there's a correct tackle applied and they don't knock that ball clear, they become very vulnerable. So I think we've got to move away from saying, oh, it's very courageous and it's the essence of the game. There's other options. There's other options such as bending down and picking it up, kicking it off the ground, knocking it on, going to ground and diving on it, but then handballing it or kicking it or trying to knock it clear straight away. So we've just got to start thinking about the player who dives. He's got to start thinking about knocking that ball clear immediately because they do become vulnerable. But the thing we want to do is protect the ball player at all times. So if there's a knee in the head, if there's a push in the back, if there's a high contact, we want to pay that first because we do want to protect that player that gets after the footy. But if he dives on it and nothing happens, he's in a little bit of trouble if he's tackled correctly.
That's all we've got time for this week. Don't forget next week, if the decision that catches your eye, jump on Twitter at AFL and the hashtag #YourCall. Jeff, thanks very much for your time again, and Simon, thanks very much for joining us. Great to see you. Now, congratulations to Benjamin Powell of Allenbrook, WA, and Tony Perry of Kyabram in Victoria, winners of last week's Quit Now reserved seat tickets. Quit Now is giving you the chance to win reserved seat double passes to a game of your choice. Simply log on to quitnow.gov.au and in 25 words or less, give us your best motivational speech encouraging a friend or family member to quit smoking.